A little over a year ago, we published a video called "Will the Nintendo Switch Be a Success?" At a time when there were a lot of naysayers, we said yes it is. And not to pat myself on the back too much, but in no way do I regret making that video. The Nintendo Switch has been a huge success. In fact, of any other console that's ever came to be, it's sold more in a smaller amount of time. But how? Hi folks, it's Falcon. And today on gameranx, we explore how Nintendo Switch became the fastest selling console of all time. Recently, Nintendo notified the press that the Nintendo Switch is the fastest selling console in US history. Without a holiday launch, in 10 months they sold more than 4.8 million units of the Nintendo Switch, which surpassed the previous US sales record held by the Nintendo Wii. Like I said, we knew this was gonna happen. Well, not entirely, that's an exaggeration, but it's fun to say. When we made our video, there were a lot of people complaining about how powerful the Nintendo Switch was going to be. Now, it turned out to be a little bit more powerful than people expected it to be, being able to run a decent version of Doom, which is pretty badass. But it still is running on NVIDIA Tegra hardware, and therefore it's not the most powerful thing out there. Now there's some more specific things that I'd like to talk about, but I just want to say when I said people don't understand the market if they think that the power is the reason people buy a console, when I said that, it's not 'cause I'm full of crap. But there were unknown variables that we just didn't have any idea how they were going to play out. So let's talk about some stuff that isn't just me telling you how great that video I made a year ago is. Remember how I said that the Nintendo Switch runs a decent version of Doom? And when I say decent, I don't mean like you feel distracted by the fact that it looks more like a mobile version of Doom. It's like if you're running a PC version of Doom on low settings, it still looks really damn nice. Well, whether or not it actually ran good or bad wouldn't even be relevant if the Nintendo Switch wasn't getting third-party support. And Nintendo Switch is getting third-party support. Now, was Zelda Breath of the Wild a system seller? Yes. Over half the people with Switch have Zelda Breath of the Wild. Was Mario Odyssey again a system seller when it came out in October? Again, yes. Over 60% of people who have Nintendo Switch own that game. But Nintendo takes its sweet time with the franchises that people want. You could make the argument that Mario Odyssey is the first in that kind of Mario since, before you were born. I don't know, it's been a while. And in the meantime, you have to have third-party support. Now this goes along with the arguments that I made about power not really being what matters, because a lot of people made the argument that power itself is going to deter people from making third-party games for the platform. However, I just want to go ahead and say that they're wrong. Power isn't what matters. Money is. Can you make money? And if the answer is yes, it's most likely a question that they pretty much determine based on hype. You can make money on anything if you push it hard enough. I mean, unless you don't push it in a smart way, then it's kind of like, hey, look at that company burning money and flushing the ashes down the toilet. But Nintendo must have hired marketing people that understand how to make people excited about something, because they did. The Nintendo Switch commercials did their job, whereas previous Nintendo commercials haven't really. Now, Nintendo didn't showcase a buttload of third-party support, but they did get a deal with Bethesda saying they're gonna make Skyrim for the console. Now let's be totally honest here. Porting a 2-generation-old game to current hardware shouldn't really be that big of a thing, but it's Skyrim. Skyrim is a thing. People saw that and they're like, oh shit, this thing's playing Skyrim? I bet there was more than a few people who said that. And that created a perception, wait, third parties are gonna support this? That got the ball rolling. In the hype phase, people weren't so dismissive of the idea that third parties would support it, and as the months passed, instead of pessimism building, it was optimism. Third parties, people who publish games, sensed the ability to make money and was like, alright, let's figure out how to do this. Now, is it the absolute rush of third-party games that you see on the other two consoles? Maybe not so much. We don't have a Grand Theft Auto on the Switch, and I don't know that we're going to. That's a very big game that we don't know if can be handled on that kind of hardware yet. And Call of Duty isn't on the Switch yet, but I mean, they were putting those on the Wii when they were putting them on the much more powerful PS3 and Xbox 360, so I mean, there's no reason to expect they won't put Call of Duty on the Switch, I think. And that's kind of more what I'm talking about. There's enough there that you're like, I think this is probably going to work out, third-party wise. That said, I did say that Legend of Zelda and Mario Odyssey are probably the main system sellers, and that stuff worked out in spades. For me, the obvious main reason to own a Nintendo console is Nintendo IP. I mean, Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey are just such quality games. There's no argument that is the stuff to buy when you first buy the Switch. Make no mistake, you can only buy those things on the Switch, so yeah. If you happen to buy one of the packages of the Switch that comes with one of those games, you've basically knocked out one of the requirements of being a Switch owner. When Nintendo decides they want another console rush, they'll make a bundle that has Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, and a Switch in it, if they haven't already. Not to mention we're getting another Bayonetta game, as well as the previous Bayonetta games, and some other IP like Kirby this year in 2018. Stuff that people really like. And it's very clear that whatever Nintendo is doing is working, so what is it about their games that are different? Well, something that actually kind of caused a little bit of a controversy, but I would have to go ahead and say is probably a good decision, comes from Miyamoto himself, saying it's not necessarily people who have just the interest of producing video games that are the best people to hire to make video games. What he said specifically was that more and more I am trying to let the younger generation fully take the reins. I always look for new designers who aren't super passionate game fans. I make a point to ensure they're not just a gamer, but that they have a lot of different interests and skill sets. Now, it probably doesn't take a lot of speculation to understand why that made some people mad, but I kinda think that's good. Games ultimately are artistic interpretations of experiences we might have in real life or that we can't have in real life. People taking wide inspiration from various hobbies and various activities, well, that's somebody who's thinking in a wider range of experiences. And then Nintendo locks them in a room and says, "Give us your experiences, we will make them into gaming, and the gamers will pay us." I think it's a clever strategy that ensures things remain relatable because even if you are the most hardcore gamer in the world, you have a life. There's stuff that is out there that you probably could benefit if your game's related to in some way that might make you smile, nod your head, or something like that. Or there might be something that somebody has experienced that you haven't and they put it into a game and you're like, this is good, I like this. Then there were the endless objections such as the fact it was a gimmicky console again with motion controls, how dare they, it's overpriced, $300 for this. There's no way they're going to overcome any of this when it comes to selling the Switch. Like, Nintendo subverted so much expectation with exactly everything that people were saying about the Switch. Almost everything that was claimed to be a weakness of the console turned out to be a strength. In short, it was basically the perfect console to launch in 2017. People love the idea of mobile games. People love handheld consoles. People are getting a little bit tired of the shovelware that's in the mobile market, and the 3DS is still the thing that people do in handheld, despite it being pretty old. Nintendo saw an opportunity to merge those markets with the actual home console market, creating its own brand new market of a machine that plays console-level games anywhere. And it has ruined my sleep schedule. Ruined it. I said it was gonna, and it has. I've seen people talk about how we live in more of a post-performance world where nothing has to work perfect, it just has to work at a pretty good level when people want it and where they want it. That's the Switch. Frankly, I couldn't be happier. I want game consoles to do well. I want game makers to do well because I want them to have incentive to do things like what Nintendo does, which is games that aren't full of microtransactions. I had to bring it up. Don't tell me that isn't a tempting factor for Nintendo games. You pick up a Switch, you know that's not going to be there. At least for now. I'm not saying forever, but at least for now. Just pure, fun, finished games that are innovative, interesting, tell unique stories, and give you distinctive experiences. What's your favorite Nintendo Switch game? Leave us a comment, and if you enjoyed this video, please click like. If you're not subscribed, now would be a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and a subscription is the best way to see them first. Also, don't forget to click that notification button. That'll make sure that you don't miss any of our videos. And as always, we want to thank you very much for watching this one. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at FalconTheHero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.